So, as you saw by the title, yes, it's been over a year since I have watched porn or done the deed, and I just wanted to come on here and talk about my thoughts about it and how I've personally overcome it. I think my perspective on it might be different for a few, or might be the same for a few. I guess we'll see. Every young man has had a problem with overcoming lust. I think lust has been such a thing. It's been a thing that's been so normalized in our culture now. Back then, thinking about how dishonorable it would make you look. Now our society just accepts it. I've personally struggled with porn and lust since I was about 9, I think. And it wasn't until I was 12 that I actually fully got into it, and I persisted on the path of watching it for a few years. And some people might judge me for this, but I don't care. So I've always had this instinct that I had to beat lust, and I didn't want to keep on persisting with it for my whole life. But I never really figured out how to do it. I would go, a few days and then always get the urge to just hop back on quick video and do it over and over. I'm talking about. And it wasn't until, say, about 3.5 years ago where I actually needed to change because I saw how it was affecting me. And I made the jump to go a full month without it. And I thought, it would be easy. But I was wrong. I really got the strongest urge to go back to it, and I went back to it a month later, and I just felt dirty with myself. And that's the thing about lust and watching porn is, it feels good in the moment, but after you watch it, you just feel like horrible. You don't feel good. It's just a way to escape from whatever stress you're dealing with, whether it's your job or relationship, family, whatever. It's just a way to escape. It's a form of escapism, like alcohol or doing drugs or anything like that. And then I decided, what if I went like another month without it? And then that turned into 2 months. And then slowly that went to 3 months, and so on and so forth. But the problem with that is I was trusting in myself to free myself from it. And I think if you trust yourself to beat lust or beat watching porn or wanking it or whatever struggle, if you're trusting yourself, you're eventually gonna lose because you can't trust your own mind. So it wasn't until I'd say September 2022 when I started to get back into Christianity and finding God. And it was a slow journey at first, but it started to pick up quite frequently. And as I was saying, I went 3 months without it, and then I persisted to watch it for like 3 months afterwards. And it was screwed up. I hated the fact that I kept relying on it, and it made me feel like shit. So it was 2023 that I didn't point out before, I was not watching porn and also not wanking it at the same time. So doing both back to back was a double whammy because, both temptations are very strong. So in 2023, I actually went a full month without watching porn and without doing the deed. And I remember feeling like so great with it, feeling so great after doing it because I felt like I had actually accomplished something that I didn't accomplish for years beforehand. And I kept going months without it, and I felt great. And then I fell back into it, trusting my own thoughts. It wasn't until I'd say December 2023, December of that year, where I fell back into it one more, or I guess technically a second time. But it wasn't until that where I actually tried to evaluate my relationship with God. And I remember being on the floor, and this other personal stuff was going on, and I remember being on the floor just saying, God, I submit myself to you. I give my life to you. I ask that you help heal me and guide me through my life. And for the next 6 months, I didn't feel the urge really. I mean, I felt temptations, obviously, but I didn't feel the need to watch it anymore. And it was great. Like, I just felt like free. you just feel that energy. And I felt the strong reason of why I quit porn was because of my relationship with God. And I think that is the main reason of how you can beat it, is you need to find a strong reason to quit the temptation. Your reason for quitting has to be stronger than your reason for continuing to do it. Because you could do all the cold showers, you could go for runs, you could go on walks, meditate, whatever. You could do all of that. But a lot of the times we listen to temptation, and sometimes you could get off track one moment, and then the temptation builds up and up and up, and then boom, you fell back in. And that's what happened that July, and I was just so pissed off. I was like, why, God? Why do I keep falling into this? I beat myself up for it. I'm like, why do I keep falling into this temptation? Why do I keep being victim to this? And I kept beating myself up for it. And I realized also it's because I listen to temptations. So I started reading my Bible more and more. And there's obviously a bunch of verses that helped me with overcoming lust. 1 Corinthians 10:13, the Lord will not let you be tempted beyond what you cannot bear, and when you are tempted, He will always provide a way out. Also just realizing how freaking baggy my eyes are. Anyways, that's besides the point. But that verse itself, it really spoke to me, and it made me realize that any temptation that you're feeling, any temptation, not just with porn, if it's with drinking or smoking weed or doing anything that's sinful, it says that you will not be tempted beyond what you cannot bear, and you will always be provided a way out. God will always provide a way out for you. That spoke to me, and it made me realize that the temptations itself were not stronger than what God is. And after I kept reading my Bible over and over that year, and I realized that the more I read it, the more it just spoke to me, and the less I wanted to sin. And obviously there's been moments in this past year where I've been tempted to go back to it. I've had lustful thoughts or something like that. But it's just the temptation. Actually, I'm going to give you 3 ways that I've tried to overcome lust. And these are methods used by Pastor Cliff and Drip King and a bunch of others. But this is my personal way, is that you don't listen to it. You don't believe it. You don't feed it, because once you start feeding those temptations, it can start to spiral, and it can start to become really, really strong. Second way is that you run away from it. You get out of this scenario of where you're tempted. Say you're in your room or you're with a friend, whatever. You get out of that scenario. And then the third is using scripture. And this one has really helped me. In those moments when I'm tempted, I always bring up scripture to help me. And in fact, this is what Jesus did when He was tempted by the devil for 40 days. The way that Jesus beat the devil was using scripture. And it's the same way that's helped me overcome it. And if it's helped me, it can certainly help you too. So those are the 3 main methods as a Christian of how to beat lust. Again, I said this is different for most people. Some guys, they have different methods, and that's fine. But for someone who's struggled with it for a long time, these 3 methods have incredibly helped me. And of course, the major method is you need to have a strong reason to quit. You need to have something that is stronger than the urge to go back. For some, it might be a job, or some, religion like Christianity, or some you're trying to build a family and you don't want lust to creep in. You need to have a strong reason to not go back to that lust. You need to have it's like a house basically. You try to set the foundation for your house so it doesn't collapse, because if you just build the house and, say if it's rainy or windy or snowy and it doesn't have a strong foundation, eventually it's just going to collapse. Anyways, I hope this video helps, and for any people who are struggling with lust, I believe in you, brothers, because it's not just me. We're all fighting against this, even women. Every person on this earth is fighting temptation in some way. And we're all struggling. It's a constant struggle. But Jesus came on the earth to set us free from it so that we're not in bondage with it anymore. So I would say try to pursue him. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.